We will do this. I think I'm just going to go over the key and just highlight a few things. So just follow along with the mark allocation. So you're the teacher. I'm not going to argue with you a whole lot. If you, whatever you decide, this is mainly for you to learn, educational purposes. Okay? All right. And if I made a mistake, let me know. I appreciate that. So I'm going to solve for B2. If you solve for B1, obviously your answer is going to be, you're going to have them flip-flopped, and that's fine. I'm not going to take any marks off there. As long as you have B1 and B2 show up there, we're fine. Okay. Are we getting this answer? Or? I'm getting some frowns, and some people are going with a calculator, so I should probably check. What did I do here? Sine of 12.5 over this, right? It's sine law, because I have a pair. To figure out this angle here, that's the only thing I can do at first, because I have this side. So 1.8 times sine of 12.5 divided by 3.5. Oh. Okay. That I was rushing. Sorry about that. 1, 1, 1, 3. So I hope you didn't mark it wrong. And if you did, I apologize. So I got to go shift sine. So it's 6.39. Okay. We're not off by a whole lot, but we want to be exact, right? Okay. Minus half for me, right? That'll be a half mark deduction, because I can tell you know what you're doing. It's just something went wrong when I typed it in. Okay, so now we have this angle right here. So you get a mark for setting it up, sine law, and then another mark for actually working it out and getting there needs to be some work there. That is some, if the province says, they told us if they say calculate, they expect some work. Okay, they expect it. If they say state, then you could technically do it without the work. That means it's short and sweet. Okay, 2 marks. Then we are calculating B1. So once you have this angle, once you figured out B1, B2 I should say, then you just use the sum of triangles. So whatever you got here, if I see you subtracting it, and obviously this is off, right, because I was off. So this should be 39. How does that change everything? Yikes. Just a little bit off, right? 161.11. That's what you should get. And again, I wouldn't take marks off here if you got this one wrong. Then if I see you subtracting it, you get the mark here. That's the 1 mark, and then another mark for solving for the side. And obviously you have to quickly redo this here, because it's supposed to be 11 here, right? So 3.5 times sine of 161.11 divided by sine of 12.5. Is that what we're getting? 524. And there should be 11 here. There we go. We're fixed. And then if you used cosine law, because technically once you find B1, this angle here, you can use cosine law if you want. And the answers for me were slightly different. So I'm just going to, what do you get when you do it anybody use cosine law? Nobody? You don't like coleslaw salad? Cosine law? Minus 2 times 2.5 times 1.8 times cosine of 161.11. So that's 27.411 something. And if I take the root of that, that's 5.24. Oh, they're exactly the same. So In this case, they're exactly the same. Sometimes they're a little off. We're not going to take marks off for that. So if you use sine law, which seems to be most of you, 1 mark for setup, 1 mark for the work resulting in the answer. So that's how you get your 3 marks for B. Okay, so put a mark out of 3 there. If you use cosine law, same thing. 1 for setup, 1 for actually working it out. And then for question 2, this was a clear SAS. I hope at least you saw that this was side angle side. You had to use this version of the cosine law formula. So that's a 1 mark for correctly entering everything and setting it up, and a mark for actually coming up with a correct final answer, provided that you showed the work in between, right? That's what I would be looking for. So take off half a mark if you didn't do any of the work. So that would make this whole page worth 7. 7 marks for this page. Let's go to the back side. Big numbers, so I also want you to be prepared for that, to let that not be an issue. You've got a calculator, whether they're really small numbers or really big numbers, you follow the same formula, right? It's asking for this location, the angle formed up here. It's between the direct distances to each tower, so this is what they're asking for. So I call it A, you can call it H for hiker, whatever you want to call it. But you're using this formula, right? The most important one that I'd be looking for is, I need this to be at the end here and everything's squared, right? That's another thing. So I would give you a mark for the setup. And so a mark for the correct setup, a mark for you not dropping the negative. So really, if you drop the negative, you lose that mark. But if you got an obtuse angle, it's implied that you've used the negative, so you don't even have to worry about that step, right? But that's how you get 3 marks. So I'm going to make this out of 3. Please change that, because that is the reason why I put this one in there, to make sure that if the negative shows up, you're not going to just drop it. It's going to be there somewhere. And I can type in a negative and then type in these numbers, divide it by that, and my calculator just keeps that negative on the screen, and you just take the inverse of that, and voila, you've got it. 4. Oh, I'm getting too close to politics here. Elon Musk, I should have left it out. Pick a different name. All right. So the key here was the fact that if there's a straight line there, and you know that this is 20 here, that little wedge, which means this is 160. That gets you the first mark of this question. If you have the 160 show up anywhere, you get the mark for that. Okay? Then you realize that it's an SAS at this corner. Okay, now you're focusing on the triangle. So you get a mark for setting up cosine law correctly, and then you get a mark for solving that correctly. So the work goes with the final mark. So this backside is worth 6 because of I changed the third question. And so the total is out of 13. Okay, so make sure you have a mark out of 13. And